This podcast is sponsored by Intentional Living Magazine, your ultimate guide created to help infuse purpose and passion into your everyday life. From expert features that provide valuable insights to thought-provoking content that sparks transformation, this magazine, an online platform, is a perfect source of inspiration for all of those of us who truly believe in the power of intentional choices.
So in this episode, we talked about coaching.
We did. Quite a lot.
It went on.
It went on a bit. It goes on a bit. But stick with it because we talk about coaching, who needs it, who doesn't.
What it actually is, because there's a misconception about what coaching is. And
who does what?
Yeah, and the difference that we make in people's lives through the coaching that we do, because we're just great.
We're super special.
So have a listen and see what you think. Hello.
Hi, how are you, love?
How are you finding our new setup?
It's really strange. So if you're listening rather than watching, Claire has decided that she gets bored with the same setup. So we've got a table and city-up chairs, and I feel like I'm reading the news. But I do let you just have your little moment,
you do
don't
let
you?
me have my moments, yeah, and because it's all about I'm living in my design of 3-5, and the 3 is about I don't necessarily like repetition and I like to try new things. So whether we do this setup again, we'll see.
I think it's going to make me talk like that. And we're coming in live from Liverpool Podcast Studios to talk about what we're going to talk about today. Coaching.
Can we just talk about coaching today?
Okay.
And well, after the week that we've had, it's been amazing. It's been a very busy one.
I'm buzzing this week.
Yeah, same. And with the different clients with the different needs that we've spoke to and how we've helped them. And then on our way in, we were talking about what we're going to talk about today. And we said, you know what, let's talk about coaching and what it actually is and what it isn't, and how we are different from other coaches.
Yeah. Wow. When we had that feedback as well this week, haven't we? And that's really, I love it. I love getting feedback. We love getting feedback. We get plenty of feedback about our views and things, and that's not always pleasant, but we're on board for it. But the feedback from our actual clients has been outstanding this week. And do you know what? I've loved it. I've loved the diversity of this week, and I love that everyone's different. Mm-hmm. And I love that we are able to literally work with anyone. Mm-hmm. And the people that we work with are really ready. And I think one of the misconceptions about coaching is that some people will go and find a coach because they want to do something or change something.
Yeah, go after a dream or a goal or whatever it is, yeah.
We shouted then.
Did I? No, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I felt myself move. Go on.
What some people do is almost like abdicate responsibility and go, right, over to you. And you go, whoa. And this is what we talk about in terms of any kind of personal development, any kind of ownership. And even like the journey of getting well for me was about taking ownership of me and my body from the medics. And so when people come for coaching, they have to be ready to do the work.
Yeah.
But some people will think that we're going to do it for them.
Yeah.
And that's not the case, is it?
Absolutely not. No, coaching in its purest form is seeing the potential in your client, in whatever it is, isn't it? The dream, the goal, and asking them those questions, and really powerful, open questions. And it could be that you ask them one question and they've never been asked that before, and they go, oh my God, mic drop, boom, and the answer comes up. And this is why I love coaching so much. And pure coaching is just asking questions. Now, we do, even though we class ourselves as coaches, we are also obviously business strategists and wellbeing strategists. But the difference between coaching and then mentoring as well, because mentoring is someone who's usually knowledgeable in the area of a subject. They've got years worth of experience and knowledge, and they impart that knowledge onto people. So there's elements of that when we will ask those powerful questions, but we will also flip into mentor, consultant type mode and give some really honest advice. And our Jules, she is like so honest.
But
and
what did someone say this week? I'm grateful for your loving, fierce.
Yes. Which
loving and fierce.
Loving, fierce feedback.
Or support. Yeah. Because the thing is with us, we're not here just to take the money. We're here because we actually care about the output. And so it matters to us. One of the main things that matters to us is, one, the well-being and the success of our client.
Yeah.
But also that they get value.
Yeah.
And I think that another bit of feedback that we've had, because we have different ways of working with people, one of our ladies said, oh my God, I've literally had my full investment value in one call.
Yeah.
And that was like, boom, drop the mic, job done, ka-ching. And for her, that was amazing. Yeah. And she's now a long-term client. She's with us for the next 9 months as well.
Yeah.
And I think the question piece for me is huge. And because we're obviously a 2-woman team, it's the 2-to-1 coaching instead of 1-to-1 coaching. So you've got the fierce one over there, brutally honest, with kindness,
and they're clever. Oh, absolutely. And then what I'm trying to think of the way I've been described.
You're
by clients.
The beautiful empath, gorgeous, kind one.
If my husband's listening to this, he's going to go, you are
so not
joking, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and my one energy is the investigator.
Yeah.
So when we start with our clients, we do have a full onboarding process, which means asking all of the questions.
Yes.
And sometimes that can be a bit like, oh my God, like you said, oh my God, I've never been asked that before. And to us, that's just normal, but we're getting underneath. Like we're literally pulling the rug up to find out what's really going on. So you might come to us with a challenge in your business strategy, and actually that might link to something that has got nothing to do with the business strategy at all, and has got all to do with you as an individual, and maybe not being able to be open as you might be, and maybe not delivering your message in the way that you might do, for all of those things. And so the bit that you were just saying then about coaching, it's also coaching and for them facilitating change using the different modalities that we use. And one of our ladies messaged me this week, and I could sense that she was low just by the tone of her message. And I messaged and said, are you okay? I'm sensing sadness. And she said, yeah, I'm sad. And so I said, okay, grab a brew, let's have a chat. And that's the accountability piece. Again, when you're working with us on a long term or longer term, is having that accountability piece. And then literally one of my superpowers, and we did a post about that this week, is I can literally see the path, the direction. I can see through the noise and the chaos, and I can see a clear path. And then articulating that path, it's, what she described, it's like having your head feeling like heavy spaghetti and getting someone to literally pull it apart and then just make sense of it and give you some steps to take. So there is the coaching, but then there is also the direction piece.
Yeah.
So I think that makes us really different. And the feedback from her was within an hour, she'd got pure clarity again. She wasn't sad anymore.
Yeah.
And that's about, again, having that accountability, having a place to be able to offload, and for us not to take it on, but for us to take the emotion out of it, be mindful and accepting of what they're going through, but then helping them get out of that.
Yeah. And then within that, what was it within that 24 hours, the things that she was challenged with ended up getting sorted because the accountability and the chat had come through your conversation, and it made it clear for her to go and take those action steps. And she felt much better straight after, but she got the results within 24 hours, didn't she?
Because procrastination can kick in, can't it, for a lot of people? And there's like people that work on their own, and that's why we work together, because we've worked on our own for so long, and actually it's lonely. It's a lonely place. but sometimes you need other people
Yeah.
to help with that energetic flow. And actually just to offload some of the challenges that she was having, cleared it.
Yeah.
It's almost like making
It's the
them,
safe space, isn't it?
exactly, holding that space and just going, well, actually, what's the worst thing that can happen there? Or what? Or have you done X, Y, and Z? No. Okay, well, let's do X, Y, and Z and make that happen. Okay, I've done that. That's worked. Tick. And then that is a real, oh God, it wasn't that bad after all. Or is that all it took? Or, you know, like
Yeah.
it literally, but because it'd been in their own space and in their own mind, and it literally sat in that churn, just getting out of it.
It builds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So who else? That was one client that you've worked with this week, but we've had some other feedback this week. That the week has just gone that quick.
Oh no,
I can't remember anymore. So what was the other one?
We had some. We dealt with some real trauma stuff. Again, we've done quite a lot of VIP days in the last week, and that is really holding that safe space, because a lot of the female execs, in fact, male execs as well, to be honest, but we have worked with a lot of females recently, is that they have that safe space to just be.
Yeah.
And they don't have time to be.
Yeah.
Because they're always
doing.
They've got the label MD, CEO, whatever, FD, all of the labels, and they show up as that. And then when they come home, they're the frazzled version of that, and then playing the role of wife, mum, or whatever the role is. And they're on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And just asking them, honestly, how are you? And not accepting, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Because I don't like fine.
Yeah, no, you
What
don't
does
like
stand for,
fine.
Claire?
You tell them, because I can't remember.
Fucked up and in need of help. Yeah. I hate fine. So, fine. And we go, no, how are you really?
Yeah.
And then you can see this and just say, just breathe.
Now, I'm not sure whether we've talked about this in another podcast. We might have touched on it, but when we do work with clients, I'm going to go off on one a little bit just based on what you've said.
I love that.
You know what I'm like?
Please feel free.
I'm like, woo, and it's a full moon soon as well, so I feel like my open head's everywhere. But we talked about most of the people that we speak to are leaders or in business.
Yeah.
And the business, we've said it before, the business piece is the easy piece. It's around the mindset and about what you're actually feeling inside that's stopping you from performing. And some of that could be they don't want to show up. There's a fear of rejection. There's a fear of success. There's some trauma there. That there's a belief there, a limiting belief to say that you're not good enough. There's no way that you can speak. Who do you think you are if you can speak up? All of those things that we say to ourselves in our head that have typically stemmed from something that's happened to us in our childhood, and it's carried its way through life, or it could have come through genetically, which is then when we go into past life stuff, because we do that as well. So just to differentiate, when we talk about trauma, we have little trauma, don't we? We have big T's and little T's.
We do.
So do you want to just talk about
I think we have touched on it
with
before.
that? We have, yeah.
So trauma comes from not the actual event, right? It's the fact that trauma, when that event happens, you haven't had the level of support that you have needed in that moment. Yeah. To say, do you know what? It's all right. Someone putting their arms around you and saying, it's okay, it's all good, it's all good. That's the trauma. That's what creates the trauma. And because what happens then, the body goes back to that memory. Yeah. And if it hasn't got that support around it, then we go back into what we felt at that point of time. And because you didn't have the support that it needed at that time, it goes into the full-blown hello there.
Support.
So trauma can be something as small as, and for me, it was like my earliest one was age 3. And we talked about this very, very early on. And it was my great grandma was reading a story to my sister, and she was sat on her knee, and I climbed up onto her knee, and she pushed me off. Shock, horror. My mum went mental. I don't remember it at all. Like consciously remember it, but it's come back through since we've done the work. And but that led me to believe that I wasn't good enough. And whilst that wasn't the reason for all of the trauma at that time in my life, what that was, that set out a piece of me that believed that I wasn't good enough. So what do I need to do to be deemed as good enough? And we talked about this before. So so I'll ask you in a minute, but you went to see Arnold Schwarzenegger last night, didn't you, at the Royal Albert Hall? She's very posh. And it's about, I think, what was the message? Be useful.
Be useful. That was his book, Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. And we had a good discussion around this because I said, I'd love to talk about that concept of be useful, because he came from a really strict upbringing with his dad in Austria. And his dad just kept saying to him, you need to be useful, you need to be of service, you need to, working hard, all of that. And I get that is a great concept. It was about serving people and it was about doing your best. But then we had a really good conversation around this where it can sort of also, again, go against.
Yeah, so go back to that trauma piece, right?
Yes.
It didn't matter. It shouldn't have mattered that I couldn't sit still. I might have been able to sit still, who knows? That's not the whole point. It's almost like society doesn't value you unless you are something, or can do something for someone. And that kind of goes against, in a lot of ways, what we teach, because actually you're brilliant. Claire Morton, you're brilliant just by sitting there, like radiating your glorious beauty right now.
Thank you.
Without all the amazing stuff that you do.
Yeah.
Right? And so whilst I get where Arnold's coming from, and I understand where his dad was coming from, that was another lifetime ago, and that is how our parents grew up, and that is how, and to be fair,
you're going back to the 1950s, 40s, 50s,
and they were brought up by people from the 1920s, and it just doesn't work today. And to have a label to make you worthy of having a story read to you just doesn't sit right with me. But I get it. I do get it.
Yeah.
But so
and that's why we said we wanted to have this conversation, don't we? Because there's different ways that this can be taken. Yeah.
So that was a trauma. Or some people we've worked with say, why don't you speak out? And they go, I don't know. And then you go back, and actually it's because they've been told to stop talking at school. And the school report said, such and such is very chatty. She could do with shutting up a bit more. And you think, really? They could end up being a fantastic orator and a newsreader or an artist or whatever it is, but they've been told to shut up. And so again, these traumas, these traumatic pieces are little T's, but have massive impact. Yeah. But the big T's are obviously speak for themselves, don't they?
So like the physical, emotional, sexual abuse, all of that. Yeah. And I think this is why thought it would be just interesting to say that, because I think a lot of people go, well, I have not really had massive trauma in my life but you've got big T's and you've got little T's. It's still a part of your life that at some point you've needed support and love and you didn't receive it, and it'll store in the body and the subconscious mind and play out in other parts of your life.
Yeah, for sure. And that's when coaching becomes more than coaching, and that's where we are different, because we can work with those energetic blocks. I call them blocks. We can help
change the energy,
change the energy, because you can't kill energy off, you can't lose energy. It's just about transmuting energy and making it free again and turn it into something positive. So we can do that, and so that's where we're different. And I did ask the lady this week that I helped on the quick call when a cuppa, I said, are we different to other coaches? And she went, God, yeah, completely. And I said, why? She said, because you've done the listening, you've sorted out the noise, and you've given me clear direction. So I don't know what other people do. I just know what we do. And it's almost, and again, we say it, holistic. And what does that mean? Holistic is
all of the well-being. The
mind, body and soul. And
mind, body, soul. It's your environment. It's your relationships. And again, it's your sexual relationship. It's your friends and family. It's your workspace, it's your financial piece, where a lot of people are stressing about money, aren't they? Right now with the economy, but it's really getting those things in order as well. It's not just about the business stuff, and it's not just about getting to the gym or eating well. It's the whole holistic piece of a human being, which is all of those things. Yeah.
And our tagline, which has evolved recently, is...
It keeps evolving.
Keeps evolving?
We've got that many taglines.
I love it, though. It's almost like your business performance starts with your performance. And even like for the corporate world, And we were, again, saying this, it's like literally unpackaging, like a Christmas present, a person. And like this morning, we've had a connection call this morning. And I was going through this lady's, she had so many superpowers. And I read them to her and she said, that doesn't sound like me. And I went, okay. So then I asked some questions, and it doesn't sound like her because of so much conditioning.
Yeah.
And conditioning is part of expansion. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it gets a bad rap, but it's part of expansion, because on the other side of conditioning is so much wisdom and almost being able to identify what work we need to do for that lady and with that lady so that she can step into her superpowers. That's so bloody rewarding.
It is.
Really, really rewarding. But being able to see it, get them to agree it, and tangibly show how to make that happen, that is like...
Magic.
It's magic.
It's magic, kid, isn't it?
Isn't it
Absolutely.
magic?
So
tell me about Arnie
go on.
and what he brought to the conversation last night.
So I bought Arnie an audience with Arnold, it was, and it was in the Royal Albert Hall, and I bought the tickets for Mark as a birthday present because Mark absolutely idolises him and Sylvester Stallone. Grew up with them, obviously, in the 80s, yeah. And one of the things that actually that Arnie mentioned last night, and I went along with Mark to have like obviously a time with him, and I thought, you know what, I really like Arnold anyways. He's had like obviously a colourful life. He's done loads of stuff. I'll go and find out a little bit more. And the stuff that he'd done, like what he talked about last night, I didn't know half of it, but it was really interesting to see how he'd grown up, how he got to the States, how, you know, he became a governor for California. That was 20 years ago, by the way. Wow. It feels like about 5 years ago.
So that's because we feel like 22.
Yeah.
We just had a really long paper round.
Life's just flying by. But then he talked openly about his, you know, what had happened with his wife, and that obviously he's not with his wife anymore because he'd had carry-ons and whatever. But his learnings from that. But one of the loveliest qualities I thought about him was that he is very honest, and he was talking about how he is classed as a self-made man. He said, I'm not a self-made man. He said, I'm here today because people have supported me. He said, I've gone out and promoted films. Obviously, I went out and rallied for governor and whatever he puts his heart and soul into. He said, but I'm here because people like you have supported me. So which I thought was lovely. And then he was talking about how he's very competitive, obviously coming from a bodybuilding background because that's where he started. And he was saying when he saw that Stallone was making, I think it was the Rocky films, it was really like it triggering for him, but in a good way, because it'd make him want to do more work.
Competition.
And so it made me look at Arnie's human design when he was talking about it. And he's a manifesting generator, 5-1. I didn't get a chance to look.
I'm a manifesting generator, 5-1.
Me
and Arnie are like that.
But I thought he's definitely a manifesting generator because he's got quite a lot of projects on as well. And the energy that he had. But his big thing was, and it's what we always talk about in business, about collaboration over competition. And he said he was in competition with Sylvester, but then over time, I don't know how, but they got to know each other and meet each other, and they're now best of friends. And then they started working together to create Planet Hollywood. And he said that they are the bestest of friends. And again, I loved the way he'd turn that round, because he said, come from a place of service, be non-judgmental and allow other people in. And he didn't say collaboration over competition, but that was the point. It was like you even in bringing together in the governing role that he did, working with the Republicans and the Democrats, and he said, I got us to work together on policies. It wasn't an us and them. He said, and we achieved more by coming together. Yeah. So, and that was obviously what me and you wanted to do, is to come together to be more of a powerful force rather than doing it on your own, and also feeling like you're in competition with other coaches, because we don't feel like we're in competition with other coaches because it's just us doing our thing and other coaches doing their thing, isn't it? Stay in your own lane.
But it's important for us to, so let's go back to coaching for a minute. It's important for us to differentiate ourselves from some of the coaching world out there is a lot of noise, and there is a lot when people look for coaches, some people can be in quite a vulnerable position.
Oh God, yeah.
And they can be confused and they can be lost and they can be attracted by the sparkly object where people can promise them the earth, and actually they can spend a long time on that treadmill of going to the different places to try and find the answers. And we've both done it, right?
Oh God, yeah.
We've both
spent
done
a fortune.
Yeah. And so it's just about knowing that almost that we're a one-stop shop and we are very honest. So if you came to us and we couldn't help you, or we didn't feel like we were the right people for you, then we would signpost you somewhere else, and we do that. Not often, but we do it because we are honest about that.
If we know that we can't help them, or there's a particular we help so we do in so many ways, but if the connection's not right as well, and we feel like there's another coach that we could recommend for them, or
and I think the other big thing about whether you need support, loads of people need it, right?
It's whether they want
loads
it, though,
of people need it. Loads of people want it, but what they say is, I can't afford it.
Yeah,
I can't afford to invest in myself. We're like, what? And I get it. There's a cost of living crisis. I get it, but by not investing in yourself, it's like, for me, if you're a surefire bet. If you trust and value yourself, then getting the right support was a gift to yourself. But it's also, you're betting on yourself. So there's no better cheerleader for you other than you. So that's one of the things that we come up against all the time, isn't it? That I can't afford that. I can't put myself first.
Yeah. And again, that's a whole other ball game again, where we've got to go down that route of self-worth and all of the money mindset piece, and but we could do another episode on that, actually,
really
couldn't we? So, any more to add?
I'd just like to ask whether, in fact, a lot of coaching we do is not sat at a table like this, because can I just feed that? It's bloody uncomfortable.
Don't you like it? I like it.
I don't. I feel like, hello, this is Kate Adie reporting from Liverpool Podcast Studios with Claire in the chair.
Look at us there. We look okay. We look really like... I like it because the table's here. Okay. I don't know whether it's like a comfort thing. But yeah, we'll see how we go for the next.
Well, God knows what you're going to bring us next week. We might be sat in that pot plant.
Who knows? We might be in a circus. You don't know. Might bring someone in. So thanks for listening to this. If you want to like and subscribe, please do, and share this with anybody that you feel it would be helpful for. Interested in. And our website is spaceandfreedom.com.
Yes, it is.
Anything else?
Anything else? No, I don't think so. Everything's on there, isn't it? www.spaceandfreedom.com. So,
ta-ra from Jules.
It's ta-ra from me.
And love and light from me. Namaste.